The hardest lesson in life that I've learned was one, not everyone around you is genuinely happy for your success. That's one of the hardest lessons that I had to learn, but I quickly learned it as a young age. I'm thankful that it didn't take me years and years to learn this particular lesson and other lessons that I'm going to list. But this particular one right here, I learned it definitely when I was like starting at the age of 12. I started to understand why that is. And certain things happen to me. I've had someone that I grew up with that they were jealous because I had a game. I had Sega Genesis, and they didn't. And they were jealous because I was one of the first ones that had the game, and a lot of the kids wanted to come to my house. I had a few kids that I hung around with. I didn't just let anybody come to my house and play the game. I had some one of my friends back then was jealous, but that was water under the bridge because I understood. I had an understanding of why when I got a little older, or a couple of months down the line. And that was just, that. But then when I got older, I learned that when you excel in something, and the people, your peers, the peers that you're around, when they don't excel in that, or they don't know their mark, or when they're unsure or confident, they want to bring your confidence down, and they either want to make fun of you, or they want to downplay your accomplishments. When that happens, you need to remove yourself. You need to separate yourself from those people that you're around, because they don't have your best interest at heart. And I'm glad I've learned that lesson young. I've learned that lesson young, and I have begun to separate myself from those peers. And each time that happens, I just remove myself, and if I sense it, I just don't even I just say hi and bye. That's it. I don't have no ill feelings or any of that, because for one, I'm trying to accomplish my goals, and the only competition is myself. I'm competing within myself. I have to compete with my higher self, because my lower self wants to be lazy and just wants to relax a lot more. So I have to combat that. So in able for me to stay focused and to not be distracted, I have to sometimes separate myself from a lot of people to get the goals that I need to get to. So that was one of the examples that happened that happened to me. Also, like when I was in playing basketball, when I was in different leagues, different kids were jealous, because I was much smaller. I was, quick, more agility, and so they were jealous because they couldn't bully me. They were expecting me because they were so big, and they scared the other kids. With me, it was different. I had the thoughts like, hey, you're not gonna bully me. It can go down. It can happen. We can make it happen. It can go down anywhere. That's the thought that I had. And because when I was younger, I've always had this thing I've always defended those that couldn't defend themselves. Imagine that. When things are unfair or unjust, if I sense that it wasn't fair, first I wanted to know, why something was happening. And I always question, why? Because I want to understand. And so my mom and my stepdad always explained things to me when I felt a certain way, and when they told me the reason, even if I didn't like it or didn't agree, I'm like, oh, okay. So then I knew. So when I see something that's not right, I question. And if it's a reason, even if I don't agree with it, if I can't change it, I just have to respect it and move around that. If it so-called affects me, if it affects me. Another thing I wish, the hardest lesson I had to learn is sometimes you have to move in silence. I think that was harder for me than wanting those around to be happy and want to experience the camaraderie of people around you just being happy. Because that goes into my first reason. When good things, when I get a blessing, I just want to share it, not in a bragging way, but I want to use that to inspire those. I want to use my success to inspire others, to lift those up, to lift those that is trying to do the same thing, or even a different thing in their own thing, to lift them up. It's this joy that I get knowing that I had a part to play. I had a part in that. And I don't have to announce that to the whole world. I don't have to announce, well, I helped this person out or I helped that person out. I just know inside, yeah, that's what's up, Yeah, that's what's up. I was able to help that person. I was able to uplift that person. The third one, this is not hard. This was an easy one. This was one of the easiest, hardest lessons. It's hard. These lessons are hard for a lot of people. And I'm observing continually, daily. If you let a person talk long enough, they're going to reveal who they are. And also, more of a factor, it's not more of what they say, it's what they do. Consider what they say, monitor what is being said, but take into more of a factor of the actions, what they're doing. Because if they're saying one thing and they're doing another, you need to remove yourself from around that person, because that's confusion. They're causing confusion. Now, if that part is exciting to you, then don't, do as you will. But ultimately, your spirit it's going to tell you, yourself, your higher self is going to tell you that, hey, I need to step away from this person because they're causing confusion, and it's negative. It's negative impacting me, or it's going to impact me negative. So I'm just gonna exit stage left. So those are some of the hardest lessons that I'm learning, continually learning, and that I'm getting more better at. Like, share, comment, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell button. And I'll see you on the next one.